How to get a deal in a competitive bidding situation. That's the topic of today's show. This is Todd Toback, and I want to welcome you to the No Limits Real Estate Investing Podcast. Whether this is your first time trying to do a real estate deal and you're scratching and clawing and trying to do everything you can to get that first big, fat, juicy real estate check, then this is your place. Or if you're trying to build your business to seven figures, and you're trying to create a machine that will spit off cash month after month after month, okay, we got lots of here for you today. So I've got a gift for you. If you've not been to our website, head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script. And there you can get a copy of the very exact script that we use in our business, the one that's locked up over 1,300 deals, and the same script that has helped tens of thousands of investors lock up deals across the country. It's got the script word by word, the tonality, the inflections. So again, go to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script and get your free copy today. So that being said, we have an awesome question that was sent in by a listener. So let's go ahead and listen to that and then figure out how to attack this.
Hey, Todd, this is Daniel. Quick question. In regards to the commitment, I know a gentleman mentioned about bidding wars, right? About getting outbid. Can you potentially use that strategy as a commitment to making sure that the seller will work with you and won't go with somebody else, or is that something different?
So Daniel, great question. And dealing in a competitive bidding situation is something that every wholesaler, real estate investor is going to be dealing with at some point in their career. By the way, just as first off, I do not like dealing in a competitive situations, but sometimes you are going to have to deal with it. So don't worry, I'm going to teach you step by step. But if you're listening to this as a listener, Daniel mentioned the word commitment. And one of the things that we like to do on every sales call, and I talk about this in the No Limits selling system, it's one of the core principles, is at the end of every conversation, you get the very next step. You get a commitment from the seller on their very next step in the sales process, right? It could be that they're going to sign a contract. It could be that they're going to talk to their partner. It could be that you're going to meet for an appointment. It could mean that you're going to have a next phone conversation, right? But there's a very, very specific date and time, date and time for that next step. And it's highly defined on what that is, because you're going to be pushing the sale forward and compressing the timeline, right? I know many sellers in any sales situation, they tend to drag their feet. Okay, so using that commitment, you're going to compress the timeline. You're going to flush out the truth. You're going to find out who is willing to do business with you and who you're not, because this isn't about pushing people to do business with you. It's actually about pushing the people away who aren't going to do business with you. So that way you could spend time with the people who need your help. And that's when you make a lot of money. But going back to Daniel's question, and by the way, if you want to know more about the No Limits selling system, and by the way, that is the core of us locking up big, juicy, fat deals, go to nolimitssalesystem.com, nolimitssalesystem.com. I have some free videos there for you. Or if you just want to buy it, you can go to nolimitssalesystem.com/backdoor. Okay, so let's talk about this competitive bidding situation and using commitments. And so, my golden rule is you really want to stay away from the cattle call, right? You dealing in a competitive situation. I know that when we sell a property, we talk about dealing with that because we want to get the highest price. But when we buy, we want to be the only person talking to the seller. We want to be the only solution. We want to build so much rapport that they only want to do business with us. So I want to tell you that if you're on the phone on the front end and you cannot crack the seller and they are like, hey, I've got 15 people coming here, I'm just going to take the highest offer. And, there's nothing that's going to differentiate you. Me personally, I'm going to recommend that you walk from that deal. Okay. Now that's going to take some guts. That's going to take some bravery, but very rarely are you going to get a deal worth any kind of real money if you're dealing with 10 or 15 people. There are way too many stupid investors willing to buy a house, make very, very little money right now, and basically, deal with the scraps. So if I hear that up front, I'm going to tell you to move on. But But there are situations where you are talking to a seller, you've gone down the road of rapport, you've met with them, and then you find out that you're dealing with one or two other investors. So pretend like you're already there. So for this purpose, Daniel, I'm going to talk about that you didn't really know that going in, and that you're close to a deal, but you're almost there. And this is for all our listeners out there. So here's my suggestion. If you find yourself in one of the situations and you've already built rapport and you're down the line and you're kind of in deep, number one, make sure that you built rapport with the seller. And I'm talking deep rapport, 3 levels of rapport. I've talked about this where level 1 is just where you're talking about people, places, and things. And you're like, hey, you like Universal Studios? Oh, I remember when I went there as a kid. It was great. I love this ride. I can't wait to go back, right? Oh, you are a Tampa Bay Bucks fan. Oh, it was so good to see, Tom Brady, almost win the Super Bowl again. The second level of rapport is when the seller teaches you something. So, for example, I'm really into growing in tomatoes. I remember meeting with a seller one time early in my career who also grew tomatoes, and her garden was way more vast than mine. And so she taught me some tricks on pruning tomatoes. All right. The third level is when they actually give you something. So she gave me a big basket of tomatoes, right? And it was in this, she filled it, right, with these perfectly ripe, beautiful tomatoes. It was a basket, and she had this like little hand knitted napkin that was embroidered, that she covered there. And we got the tomatoes and we got the deal. So make sure that you build a lot of rapport. Why is that? Well, the biggest thing is that you want them to be transparent with you and honest with you. And that if they're going to take a higher offer, at least they say, you know what? We wanted to call you before we accepted that offer. You're going to have a chance to meet or beat that offer. The next thing, though, is that you want to find out something that other buyers don't know. Does the seller want some kind of post-occupancy agreement? Meaning, do they want to stay after the property closes? Do they want an extended closing date? Do they need a cash advance? Do they want a super private sale? Do they want to use their attorney specifically? What is it? Try to find an in where you could give them something that they value high that another buyer is not willing to do. Let me give you an example. We recently bought a property. Not everyone can do this, but the seller was building a new home, modular home. And we actually gave her 6 months to live in the property in exchange for a $25,000 reduction below our initial price, in which we were actually competing with somebody. Now, we didn't know we were competing with somebody early in the process. We found out later. This whole modular thing popped up later. She wanted more time. We found that out. We said, yes, you could live there for 6 months. She basically traded $25,000 for speed and convenience and the ability to not rush moving, right? And so that was a good trade. And guess what? We're going to sell that property and make a boatload of money. Next, though, is that you want to get a commitment. Okay, this is where it's going to come down. A commitment from them. If they tell you that they're going to bid this, say, hey, can you do me a favor before you accept another offer? Will you call me, right? I can help you. I can tell you if it's a little mature buyer and give you some feedback. Will you do that? And make sure that you get that commitment, but then continually follow up with that seller. You want to keep the line tight. You don't want the fish to run. You don't want the fish to run and cut the line. That's one of the things they talk about in fishing. So keep the line tight. But, and this is really important. You want to try to avoid bidding situations. I'm telling you right now, they are not fun. They're soul sucking. They're draining. And so the most important thing is get your marketing machine going. You want to have a marketing schedule, and you want to be marketing week after week after week after week consistently, like clockwork, so that if something doesn't work, right, or you find yourself in a competitive situation and you don't want to be there, you can just walk away, right? There's a great book on negotiating. I forget the name of it, but they talk about something called a BATNA, and that's best alternative to a negotiative agreement, right? It's an acronym, best alternative to a negotiated agreement. I think the book is Getting to Yes, right? Getting to Yes. And if you have a better alternative, that is talking to your next lead, you're not going to be scared to walk away from a competitive situation. So Daniel, I hope you answered your question. Just to review that, first, if you can avoid competitive bidding situations, I'm going to do that. But if you find yourself in one after going in deep with the seller, make sure you got rapport, right? Level 3 rapport, I've talked about that. Find out something that other buyers don't know and offer a custom solution to the seller. Make sure you get a big price reduction for that. Get a commitment from the seller that they will call you before they accept another offer. So you have an opportunity to tweak your offer if you need to. And remember, have alternatives, right? You want to market your face off so that if you can't come to terms with the seller, you can just walk away with confidence and not waste your time. Keep your energy up, keep your motivation up, keep your drive to do big, fat, juicy deals up, okay? And you will be very, very pleased with the results. Remember, head on over to nolimitsrealestateinvesting.com/script to download that script today. And remember, go out there, do big, fat, juicy deals, and I will talk to you on the next episode.